All right. Hello. Good evening. Good morning. Today we have an awesome conversation with one of our clients, Ivana. She's in the Brand Builders Academy program. She's very hardworking, very persistent individual, and she's not, your typical, person who just joins like masterminds or joins like courses or mentorship. She's very hardworking, and she went from 9 to 5 job that she had to running a successful e-commerce business. Last time we got an update from her, she was at $4,000 a day in sales with her store. But again, not a typical result. She's a very hardworking individual, and today I'll learn from her what's worked for her, also what was her experience working with us, some of the major things she learned on her journey so far, so that we can all learn and become better. So I'm looking forward to this conversation. We'll drop Ivana the link, and she'll be joining us soon. Just message her. While we are waiting, please just drop one in the chat. If you can hear me okay, if you can see me okay. Just drop one. Drop one in the chat. And waiting for Ivana to join us. Hi, Ivana.
Hi, Alex. How are you doing?
Hi, Anis.
Hi,
Nice
Alex.
to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you for joining me, guys. I was giving an intro to you guys. I said you are tremendous individuals. You're very hardworking, very persistent, and that is why you're having success in e-commerce. And would love to learn from you today, and ask you some questions about the things that you've learned in your journey so far.
Yeah, with pleasure.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks.
Awesome. So yeah, if you can give us like a kind of like a background, kind of like where you guys started. I know initially you were like at 9 to 5 jobs, right? And kind of like you took the leap of faith into e-commerce. So yeah, if you can tell me more, please.
Yeah, of course. Well, we had a life, I presume a lot of people would call perfect life on paper. We were both raised in Switzerland, so very wealthy, very good country to grow up in. And we started our business journey working in banks, in Swiss banks. That's where we met. And we kind of went from job to job in different banks, had a good job, had a good apartment. We're making kind of good money. We were able to travel every time we had a holiday. Everything seemed to be perfect, but really the life we had was really not the life we wanted to live. And that's when we decided to quit our jobs.
Can you just elaborate on that, right? Because for most people listening, it would be like, all right, so what else could be better, right? So
Yeah.
like in what sense like you didn't enjoy? I mean, it's how much like the bankers are making in Switzerland?
Well, we didn't have really high placed jobs, to be honest. It was kind of in the beginning of your career in a bank, but we still earned around 6K a month, I would say.
Okay.
Something like that. But earn a bit more. But for us, it was around 6K. So yeah, like I said, we had everything material wise. We were perfect, I could say, but we just realized that actually the life we had, we thought it was perfect just because society kind of put that in our minds, if it makes sense.
Yeah.
And when we realized that life isn't just going to a job that you really don't enjoy, where you're not free to do and to give ideas and kind of grow as an individual, and that there were other ways to do that. That's when we decided that we took our courage, and we resigned from our jobs.
Yeah, I think back in the days we didn't have like a clear purpose. Like we don't set up like real goals, and
Yeah, when we quit our jobs, we kind of did that to be able to travel for a year. It was at the beginning, it was to take a gap year and see during that year what we could potentially do that will take us off the 9 to 5 path. And while we were traveling, that's when we kind of started back the e-commerce, because we started actually before quitting our jobs, but we didn't really take it seriously, so we gave up. And then when we started traveling, that's when we kind of took things back with another course. We started a French course, and after doing that for a few weeks, we kind of realized that it wasn't really the best fit for us, what we were looking for. And that's when we stumbled on your account and ads and everything else. And that's when we joined BBA last summer from last year. And
everything changed.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. And so, I mean, I personally, yeah, I love Switzerland so much, as a country, like in terms of the quality of life. And yeah, I mean, I would love to live there. Even like this summer we were there with family. It was a good time. And yeah, it's kind of like, yeah, like you said, it's when you think about it, like there's multiple, I mean, there's different ways to live your life, and there's certain ways that are kind of like established like as a standard, as a norm, and it's working out for most people. Most people, I mean, there's some people that are happy, there's some people that are unhappy, but like if someone is maybe watching this right now and like they kind of feel that they want to do something differently, there's a lot of people, I feel like they're kind of suppressing that desire to do something different with their life, and they can keep it for years and for years and for years and for years, and then 10, 20, 30 years go by, and like they haven't moved forward with anything, and so how long was that desire for you? Like how long did you kind of like were thinking and just feeling that you need to do something different?
I think for me, for Anis, I think he kind of knew it from the beginning, since early. But for me, it was kind of different, because in school, I was always a good student, university, same, job, same, always performing, always kind of the good student everywhere. And until I met him, I didn't really begin to ask the right questions to myself. And then when I met him, after a few years being together, that's when he kind of put the idea in my head that there was something else that we could do with our lives, and that's how we got into this. But yeah, for him, I think maybe you can talk about it, but I think it was more profound.
Yeah, because I think like everything that we wanted in life is in the other side, like other things we fear doing. So at some point, I realized that I knew deep down that it wasn't the life I wanted. So yeah.
And like most people kind of like know that, but they still don't pull the trigger, right? Like was it something for you where you just like said it, like enough is enough? Like was there like kind of like a moment, like epiphany moment for you?
I think being two is really what helped us take the step forward, because if he were alone, I think he would never have done it. And for myself, kind of the same. And being a couple and doing the same thing at the same time, you kind of have the insurance that you're not alone and that you can do this together. So it was kind of not easier, but I think that's the biggest part of why we took the step to do what we wanted.
It's the power of social proof.
Yeah, and also social proof. When you see all of these people, I mean, your story, everybody else's story who have succeeded, you know that people come from way less privilege than what we've had growing up in Switzerland, and they still got to such high levels. So why wouldn't we succeed? And also the thing that got us going in this path is that we asked ourselves a lot of times, what is the worst thing that can happen to us? We can try, and if we fail, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? We go back to Switzerland, we can start a job back there. We grew up there, sorry. We have our connections, we have our family there. So basically the worst is like a dream for most of people in the world. So that's really once you think like that, you think to yourself, well, I really have nothing to lose. The only thing I can regret is not trying, actually. So yeah.
For sure. And I can totally resonate with what you guys said about like just supporting each other, being a couple, because me and my wife, like we are like we've been through from the bottom, like we were like very like poor, and just like supporting each other, like knowing that there's like one person that no matter what, that person will support you and help you, and because like in business, like in everything, there's like good moments and bad moments, and there's low moments, and throughout those moments, if you know that you have someone by your side who believes in you, believes in what you're trying to do, it's so impactful. So yeah, I totally relate to what you guys have.
We wouldn't have done anything we have done without each other.
For sure. So for you guys, like, so when you initially started, like did you consider any other business models? Like so how did you decide like e-commerce is something you want to do?
I think, well, when we first were introduced to e-commerce, I think it was during COVID, maybe 2022, something like that. It was kind of the new viral thing, I would say. So maybe that's why we picked this one, because it was just brought to our attention. And again, like you said before, social proof. There was so much social proof of people succeeding in e-commerce, and we kind of analyzed the thing. We saw that the model was legit and that you could scale pretty quickly if you do the work. So I guess that's why we went with it.
And so you mentioned, so when you guys joined the first community, or the first like mentorship that you've had, what was like something that didn't resonate with you going through that process? Something French, I think you mentioned.
Well, I think the persona that this course was targeting wasn't really us, and we figured that out afterwards. It was more targeting people that come from France, that have a lower kind of revenue that we did in Switzerland, and that are looking just to make a few more bucks at the end of the month. More older people as well. So yeah, after a few months of doing that course, we realized that it wasn't really for us. We didn't have really figures inside the course to look up to. I think the person that did the best there maybe did 2 million in like 3 years in revenue, not even in profit. So when you see this and then you see other big numbers and other guys doing much more, it was really not really aligned with what we wanted to do.
And so when you started e-commerce, like at first you started it like on the side, like you just kind of like you mentioned you started it, and it's kind of like you didn't take it as seriously, and then like, so how was that transition process for you?
Yeah, the first time we started it, we were still working our full-time jobs. So we did that for a few weeks, and then we had, I think, 2 weeks of vacation. We went to Mexico, and then after coming back, that's when we didn't really pick it up again. So it was kind of cool, and then we didn't think about it for 2 weeks, and then we forgot about it. And then, like I said, when we started the 1 year when we were traveling, that's when we started back, because we knew that if we ended up doing the year of travel and did not do anything to change our lives when we came back, we would have to go back and work in Switzerland again and start the life we were living before that didn't align with what we wanted to do. So yeah, that's why we started it back when we were traveling, just a few weeks after we started traveling.
Got it. And so what was different about that time? Did you, like, at that point, did you quit your jobs?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So you came back from vacation, and or was it vacation, and then you quit your jobs?
Oh, no. The first time we went to vacation, and then we stopped doing the e-com for a few months, actually. And then at the end of that year, we decided to quit our jobs and take a year off to travel initially.
Got it. So you took a year to travel.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Awesome. So what countries you decided to travel to?
We did
Start with,
Asia.
yeah.
We started with the Philippines, then Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia. Then we went to Australia. Then we did French Polynesia. Then we went a few days in LA. That's when we joined BBA. And then we did South America. We did Chile, Peru, Bolivia, and Colombia. And then the last 3 months, because we wanted to focus really hard on e-com and on BBA, we decided to stay in one place for 3 months and stop the traveling every 2-3 days and all that stuff. So we stayed at La Réunion. It's a French island in the Indian Ocean. So yeah, that's how we did it.
Is that where you guys right now?
No, we actually just moved to Bali.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. What time is it for you now?
It's 11 p.m.
Oh, guys, thank you so much for joining. I mean, it's so late for you.
It's a pleasure. No worries.
I've heard like internet in Bali is not good, but I mean we have good connection now.
Yeah, because we asked our owners to upgrade the internet connection.
Yeah.
No, the first weeks we couldn't even have a phone call with the coaches and BBA because it was always cutting off. So yeah.
Oh wow. So what was so in on that journey, like so far in e-commerce, it's like we can say it's like pretty much like 1 year at this point, right?
Yeah.
So what are the biggest like learning lessons that you have had, or biggest like paradigm shifts? Like maybe you came in with certain like beliefs, and then like throughout this year, like those beliefs have shifted. Maybe it's when it comes down to the like product research, maybe to kind of like what products to sell, what markets, how to sell them, kind of like beliefs when it comes to e-commerce.
There are so many.
Top three. Let's see, top three.
Top three. Top three is it's not as easy as some people make it seem.
Yeah.
Then I would say never get too comfortable because the wheel will stop turning around if you do. And third one, I don't know, what would you say?
Passions. About passions.
Yeah, that you really have to love pain to make it out. As weird as it sounds. Yeah.
So like for on that topic, like that it's not as easy as people make it seem, right? Like, and I totally agree with that. And like I think just a lot of people just taking it like not as seriously, like because like especially at that initial stage of business, like most likely you'll have like some low moments, right? Where you would like, let's say you're testing products and it doesn't work, like you're trying different things, it doesn't work, you're trying ads and it doesn't work like from the first try. And that's the moment where most people would just like, give up and like, okay, probably e-commerce is not for me. I'll do something different. I'll do something else. Like what was that kind of process for you? Like, let's say, like when did you first start getting traction? Like, let's say from the moment you started, like how much time did it take you to see some like positive traction, like getting sales consistently?
Well, when we started BBA, really focusing on it for like 8-10 hours a day, the both of us.
It took 3 months.
I think it took around 3 months
At
to
least, yeah.
start having sales. And then from there, the first product that we sold, not the first one, but the first one that got us sales, that was doing good, we almost scaled it to 3K a day in US dollars.
Uh-huh.
But from there to the first kind of the slope going up to scaling, 3 months, I would say.
And what would you say, like, I mean, based on your experience, like, can someone make it work? Let's say if they still work 9-to-5 job, right, and they want to get into like e-commerce, like, based on what you have learned so far, is that possible to do? And how much time do you think that could take?
I think everything is possible. So if you really put your mind to it, you could do it. But having the experience we had, well, everybody's experience is different. But for us, we were both of us doing this as like a full-time job.
Mm-hmm.
And even in putting all these hours in every day, it still took us 3 months. So if you do that as a side hustle, yeah, I think it can work faster if you are maybe more consistent, or not consistent, but if you have maybe more luck in finding a new product or something like that. But I would say that it would still take more time,
And
I guess.
I think it will be easier if you have the good mentor, you know,
Yeah, for sure.
like we had like back in the time.
Yeah.
We were like with a good, I think, with a good mentor, good coaches, and yeah, I think it's really important. Yeah.
Because
But
like
it's possible, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, you know, like, for example, 3 months or 6 months, or even like, let's say 12 months, right? It might seem like a lot of time, you know, for people. Like, let's say if it's, you know, for someone to, let's say, would take like 12 months to see some meaningful, you know, results with e-commerce or anything else they're trying to do, right?
Mhm.
So if you're looking at it from, you
Oh, sorry, Alex, we can't hear you anymore. Just a moment.
Yeah, no, we can't hear you. I don't know if it's us or if it's you.
okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
all good.
Yeah, something with my mic. So on the short term, from the short term perspective, let's say 3 months or 6 months or 12 months, it might seem like a lot of time, or because the expectation, I think that, you know, if you go on Instagram, you go on like YouTube, that it's kind of like can happen very fast, right? And it's like today you started the business, like tomorrow you're getting results, which is, you know, 99.9% of cases is not accurate. That's not how business works. And but the other aspect of this, the other side, is that, okay, what if it takes 1 year for you to kind of like get, you know, first of all, get the skill sets, right? Because as you're going through this process, you're getting the skill sets that are like very valuable. Like you can apply the skill sets that you have now to sell like products in, even if you wanted to sell products in South Asia, right? Like, you know how to sell products, you know, the moving parts, like probably will be some kind of like logistical things that you'd have to adapt to. But overall, the mindset of like entrepreneurship and like understanding, you know, what products to sell, what people want to buy, and just kind of like being a good marketer, that is such a tremendous, you know, skill set that will serve you for the rest of your lives. And so if you're looking at it, you know, that's just my perspective. Like if you're looking at it like from a short term standpoint, it's like, yeah, everyone wants to get momentum very fast and be successful very fast. But then, you know, for most people, it takes like at least, you know, 3 to 6 months to see some meaningful results and meaningful traction. And but then on a bigger time frame, okay, so what if you take 5 years, right? Like what if like everything that you guys know, now you're building on already like a very solid foundation of skills, knowledge, like you already had some results and you just continue building it up. I mean, it can be very life changing. Like if you continue pursuing this path, it just that initial time period is where most people just give up, right? Because they don't see those instant results, and we've been trained by social media to have instant gratification, and we want the results very fast. And see, that's what
Real
pretty
life.
much everyone's trying to sell us, right? And it's just that important mindset shift that is, and it's also fascinating with you guys that like you, even though it's like 3 months, right? Like, so it's a, someone else could do it for 1 month or 2 months. They don't see traction. They're like, okay, e-commerce not for me. I'll go do Forex. I'll go do like, there's so many like different opportunities that people could do. And it's fascinating that you guys pursued that path, even though it was not instantaneous.
Yeah, I think that's because we were telling ourselves that whatever you do in life, it's going to be hard. So at some point, you have to choose your hard. And we were telling ourselves, is it harder to now work without having the instant gratification, like you were saying, and not seeing the results right away? Or is it harder to have to go back to a 9 to 5 we didn't really enjoy? And when you ask yourself that question, what is harder? Because at some point it's going to be hard both ways, but you really have to choose your hard, and we chose our hard. I'd rather have really bad moments, have doubts, tell myself that I'm not going to be able to do it, we're not going to make it, and so on, but pursue in that direction. And if tomorrow I'm not here anymore for whatever reason, at least I would have tried.
That's it. Did you have that mindset from like where that mindset came from? Like, did you like find it, develop? Did you kind of like repeat it to yourself every day to like, because it's not something that we have been grown up with, right? Like it's not, that's not what they teach us in school, unfortunately. And so where that mindset came from, and how did you make it so so big part of kind of like your identity or mindset?
I think that's one of the big challenges as well, and something that most entrepreneurs have to work on when they start their journey, is that whenever you start, you have to not only focus on your business, but as well on leveling up your character. And you do that by focusing on reading some personal development books, by writing down your goals, by listening to some podcasts that inspire you, by watching some videos on YouTube from interviews from successful people, from people that are where you would like to be. And I think that's just compounded over time. It's not something that we did once and it got. We did it for a longer period of time, and we repeatedly did that, so that our mind kind of shifted. And I'm not saying it shifted completely. We have some days where we're completely down and we have doubts like everybody else, but most of the time we're kind of thinking back to what we tried to put in our minds.
It's interesting. I think about this as a like operating system. So I don't know if you guys are using like iOS, right? For example, so they have the operating system, and the operating system. It's kind of like your decision framework, like your beliefs that you have about different things. And sometimes like, for example, to start a business or to grow the business, or even like as you start growing the business, you get the business to a certain level, like that's where your operating system kind of like cap is. So you have to upgrade it, and you have to install like different set of beliefs in order to take business, for example, from 7 figures to 8 figures. You have to believe in different things. Like at some point, like for example, building the team, building infrastructure, product development, like the kind of like there's many other aspects that come like at different stages of the business. But just being aware of that, I think if we can, thank you guys so much for joining. If we can just give people this perspective that, people need to really think what their belief systems are, and whether those, like, for example, if you believe like I start a business today and like in 3 days I'll be successful, right? That is just a, limiting kind of like belief system that is not designed for success, right? Because most likely it will not work out in 3 days, and then you'll be disappointed, right? So by kind of like rationally and just purposely designing that belief system, okay, I'm getting into business, it will take a year for me to get some meaningful results, and even if it doesn't work at the end of the year, like I'll still learn so many skills that will serve me the second year, the third year, the fourth year, the fifth year. And I think this is such a foundational thing, because you have all of the skills, let's say when it comes to e-commerce, like how to choose your products, how to run ads, how to build websites, like all of those kind of like tactical things. But if they're not built on the right foundation of beliefs and mindset, then it's pretty much useless.
Yeah, because you can have initial momentum and success, but I feel like if people get success quickly, they kind of are more likely to lose it quickly as well.
Yeah.
Because you didn't have time to adjust your mindset, you didn't have time to learn the skills that you have to learn in order to grow your business. So maybe sometimes, I think that's what we had with the first winning product that we found. We kind of found one winning creative and we got comfortable. We didn't really kept looking for others. And we thought, oh, okay, we figured it out. We're going to make millions with this product with just one video, one creative, and everything is going to work out. And when it started to not work out anymore, that's when we realized that the efforts that you put in today are not going to be reflected tomorrow, but in a really longer period of time. So we got the results from not doing enough a few months back.
Yeah, I think most of us, we've made this mistake at the beginning.
Yeah, me too. Like, so yeah, I think it's everyone. And sometimes, it's even, let's say you guys join BBA, right? And I see this even like with myself, my own journey is like someone would tell me like, hey, like if you just like rely on that like one creative, one app in this particular example to work out for a long period of time, it won't. I mean, at some point it will die. And then and then you kind of like, oh yeah, maybe it's like for other people, maybe I'm special, like it will be different from me, but it's
yeah.
and then you have to experience that pain, right? And then that pain, like if you reflect on that pain, okay, yeah, maybe that person was right. So now the lesson is truly learned, and now you're making some real adjustments.
Exactly. I think we were on a call with Omid trying to figure out why the performance was dropping. And just before we got to our turn to ask our question, I think he was telling somebody, your creatives, if you're lucky, they're going to last for a month and a half. And then I asked my question and he was like, but when did you start running this one? And I said, like, I think 4 months ago. And he was like, oh, no.
Jesus Christ.
You're way too comfortable, guys. And that's when we realized. But we got a lesson from that. Now we know that we can't rely on just one creative. We have to keep working. We have to keep doing the research. We have to keep testing new creatives as much as we can. And not just get comfortable and assume that the business is going to grow by itself.
Yeah, we have to master the basics like market research, copywriting.
Mm-hmm.
You have to know how to sell and all this stuff. So
the consumer psychology. It's really a work that you have to do every day. So
it takes time, but once you master these skills, everything is possible, I think.
Yeah, for sure. So how do you guys split your kind of responsibility? Who does what in business?
I do the creative part, whether it be creatives or images for the website. And I do as well some kind of research. We do that both. And then he does more of the copywriting and creating the landing pages and everything else.
Nice. With my wife, like it took us some time to find, what we both are specifically capable at, kind of like, and just like not to step on each other's toes. And it was work in progress, but it's awesome that you have that clarity, who does what, and like who's better kind of like equipped with skill sets and natural talents to do certain things in business.
Yeah, no, for sure. It took us a few months as well, and I think we still have to figure out some stuff. But for now, that's how we split things.
Awesome. So, what was the biggest thing that inside of the BBA? Like, what was the biggest thing that you've learned so far? I know it's hard. It's a hard question. So maybe a few
It's
of
a
them.
question.
I think that, again, getting too comfortable with not showing up to calls, because every time we did that, we were kind of, no, it's okay, we have the answer, or we'll see that with our one-to-one session. But every time we got connected to one of the calls, even if we didn't have specific questions,
we learned something.
Yeah, we learned something. And we kept doing this mistake a few times until we really realized that, yeah, you really can get comfortable in this game if you want to win.
I think overall, like, environment, right? So from my perspective, like with online entrepreneurs and online businesses, it's hard to be like, let's say you go to the office, right? And in your office, let's say there's a culture, everyone is like very driven. It's like everyone's very excited. So there's like something that's pumping you up every day. If you work here remotely, right, or you guys traveling, that's one of the benefits, of running a business online, is like you don't have access to that kind of like environment. So just by being even like virtually participating and like listening and integrating yourself into the frame of mind, like in a business, and like seeing the mistakes that other people are making and then reflecting on yours and just constantly reminding yourself, I think it's something that it's just so necessary. Like otherwise, just it's so easy to get distracted. It's so easy to kind of like get out of that environment. And there's many great things you can do, like you guys are in Bali or in other great places that would just take away from that. Or even for me, I'm in different masterminds too, and I joined some calls, and I know that there are some people that are running a lot bigger businesses and a lot more successful businesses, and then I'm joining, and like like now it's like my competitive spirits. I want to it's like now I'm I'm angry a little bit, right? I just want to compete on a higher level. But if I don't do that, then I'm kind of like, I'm okay. I have everything I ever wanted, right? And it's like and even when I lived in Poland, it's I lived in one area, and it was like most people just they're okay, right? And I was doing much better than all those people, and like I would feel myself comfortable. But at the same time, like when I surrounded myself, like also in the communities and masterminds and mentorships, like I just realized how much there was to do, right? And like how much more was possible. And I think that's something that just you don't really know your true potential until you just see other people that are maybe come from like worse backgrounds, or might have taken them like less time, but they're just like more focused. But that is so inspiring and just pushes you to become the best version of yourself.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's why the calls are very important, and also just keep looking on YouTube, listening to podcasts, do whatever you can to just, like you said, keep your mind seeing that other people are doing better than you, and that you can do better than what you thought you could.
Yeah, it's the same as let's say if you're watching news, right? Like most likely it will show that everything is horrible, like world is falling apart, So and so now you start thinking about, and now you start seeing bad things everywhere. And the same here, it's like if you're in that kind of environment, then you start seeing good things everywhere. It's like, okay, yes, like different things are happening in the world, but there's like people that are still doing well. That is probably possible for me to do better. And so now you're just like supplying yourself the right inputs, the right information, and that drives your decision making, that drives your action, and that's pretty much what keeps the business growing.
Exactly. Yeah. Very important.
So do you guys believe e-commerce is like too saturated?
No. No, like you would say, it's just your way of selling that is too saturated.
It's about the angle.
Yeah. No, it's
Yeah.
just people that
We've tested it because like right now we're selling like a product that you can like see everywhere in every market, and we still we can sell it. So
yeah.
I mean, it's not saturated. It's just the way you sell to people, or it's all about marketing. And
I think it's an excuse of that people that failed use. They get comfortable with the idea that they failed, and that's okay.
They kind of justify it.
It's the market's fault, but it's not.
So how do you guys do, like, so for example, let's say today you wanted to start, I don't know, new store, new market. Like, first of all, like, which market would you go into? And second, how you would do the research about that specific market or specific product that you want to sell?
I think with advertising, the US is pretty much above everybody else. So we would look into what's working in the US. I think now the trend is kind of looking at what's viral on TikTok and trying to see if you can maybe take those ads and try them on Facebook. Checking that the product is viral as well on Amazon, that you have good reviews, and then maybe testing like you teach in BBA, to test the big 4s or 5s, I don't know. See which one does good for you. That's kind of the easiest way to do it. And then I think we've seen a few people kind of do the market where they're from. For example, we could have done Switzerland because we know it better than somebody that's not from there, but we didn't. But I think it works for a lot of people. And European markets, I think, work as well. But we've only tested US, and now we're selling to Australia. But that's kind of what we would do. We would just see what works in the US and try to replicate it either there or in other countries.
And to better understand your customers, like, what kind of research would you do?
Well, we research on Amazon. We read a lot of conversations on Reddit. YouTube videos, comments. We use spy tools to get the comments from other competitors on their ads. We check competitors as well. We try to check competitors that are not selling the exact same problem, but the problem, that they solve the same problem as our product does. And I think that's pretty much it.
So what the last thing you mentioned is, let's say someone is selling a product that solves exactly the same problem, but it's a different product. You can still learn like how they market that specific product, how they sell it, right?
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, because a lot of people, like, the way most people would just start like e-commerce, stores and start selling their products, is they're like, oh, this exact product, they're selling this exact, they're using this exact ad, and they will try to copy it like one-to-one, So if you're looking just like above that, and if you're looking for like different ways to get more creative ideas, then by definition you'll be instantly differentiated from most people that are selling that product, and you will just learn a lot of different. You can find a good angle. You can find some ideas for your ads, for the creatives, for your advertorials if you're using those, and you'll be able to differentiate from other people.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. The more you understand your avatar, the more you win, I think.
Yeah. The better your message sticks and is related to the person you're selling to, the better you'll do in business. That's one thing that we've learned. When we started, we wanted to focus on selling to everybody. And now we've understood that once you figure out what your market is attracted to and who your market is specifically, then you have to really do the work and target them only.
Mhm.
If your avatar is a woman 55 plus, you have to put someone that looks like her in your creatives. You have to think like her. You have to give the message that she would like to hear. You really have to, focus your messaging and advertising on that person only.
Even if you look at the big brands, they all have like a niche, like
Yeah.
it's
Mhm.
small niche, and yeah, they
I think that's the key, really, because if you focus on a too big of an audience, you will never really have the perfect message that will resonate with everybody. That's not possible.
because not everyone will be interested for this specific product, so
Or the message that you're putting into, yeah.
For sure. Is there like, do you guys want to sell in Switzerland at some point?
I don't think so, because to sell in Switzerland, the biggest part of Switzerland is German speaking, and we come from the French part, so we don't really speak German. So I think that would be kind of trying to sell in any other country like Sweden or whatever. Since we have a language that's the most spoken there, I think it's not really that.
You guys don't speak German?
We've been learning German for, I think, 20 years in school, but we still can't say more than 3 words.
But you speak French, right?
Yeah, we speak French, yeah.
Like, do you consider selling in a French market?
When we did the French course, we were selling in France to start with. But again, French mentality and Swiss mentality are really kind of different. So maybe that's one thing that we didn't really think about it when we started. We thought the Swiss kind of perspective, but French people are really different. So yeah, we tried, but work out for us.
What is this? What is the Swiss mentality? Like, let's say, kind of like, what are the main things that people believe in?
I don't know. The Swiss people are very kind of not strict, but they like to follow rules, and they don't really try to go outside of any of the lines that are
of the system, of the matrix.
Yeah, because to be fair, in Switzerland you have a lot of rules, but you have kind of a good life as well. To other countries where you have a lot of rules, but it's chaos. In Switzerland, everything is working kind of okay. Well, I would say. So people don't really have to think about going outside or doing something that is not expected of them, because they have a nice environment. They have enough. I think that's why.
So you guys been in BBA for some time, and you probably like interacted or seen some other students in the program. What do you see, like, kind of like just from your perspective? Because sometimes it's easier to see like what other people are doing wrong. So what did you see, like, in terms of the main mistakes that people are making, when starting a business, growing the business, mindset?
I think the main one would be
not showing up enough.
Yeah, but they're also not coachable. I mean, when we've had a lot of calls with Jacobo and now with Jeremy, with our new coach, every time they told us something that we had to do, we just did it. We didn't really question it. And when we question it, we were like, we don't have to question it. He said to do this, I'll just do it. He knows better, And we've seen a lot of people in calls that are kind of, just doubting what the coaches are saying, or not really believing, or kind of doing it their own way. And then they come back and they're like, oh, but it
doesn't work.
Yeah. So I think that's the main thing. When you're learning a new skill from the beginning, and you have people that are a level up above you, you just have to listen to what they say.
And I see this, on every like, it's not even like from people that are just starting out the business, but even like maybe someone was in business for like 10, 15, 20 years, and they learn to do things in a certain way. Like, for example, like a small like restaurant. It's like, they would do like, some kind of like advertising. But now there's like social media, and they're like, no, like social media. No, I've never done social media. We always did, like, I don't know, ads in newspaper, right? And so just being closed-minded and not coachable, I think it's applicable to so many layers. It's not just for people that are starting out, but it could also be applicable to, more seasoned entrepreneurs. But we live in the age and the environment where, with all of the technology, all of the things that are happening, like we have to be constantly like just open to new information, like new technologies we can use. The consumer behavior is changing, the economies, like there's so many moving parts. So we always have to be flexible if you want to just, build something that lasts.
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, exactly. And when you join BBA that you can 100% trust all the coaches that you have there. Every time we received advice from anybody from BBA, it was the right one. So really, you don't really have to question anything. Just do what you're asked, and just go on with it.
Awesome. So how does so for you guys, like reflecting, let's say on your kind of like who you've been like 1 year ago, like and your evolution, if you could give yourself like one piece of advice, what would that be?
I would say to myself that it's not going to be easy, but it's worth it. So you just have to pursue and keep going. And you?
And for me, I would say, yeah, you have to believe in yourself. I think it comes from the belief. So when you believe that something is possible, so I think it will be easier through your journey. And so
I think belief is really something important, because if you don't believe deep down, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And I think the first time, the thing that got us going all the way back down is that we kind of reached one of the levels that we were set as a goal since the beginning. We were almost doing 3K a day. And I think unconsciously, we didn't really believe that it was possible for us to do it. So that's when everything kind of went down. But now we're really more aware of what's possible and not, and we really believe it more. So I think that's why it's working better this time.
Yeah, I mean, people would, and I've had that experience myself, where if you have specific goals and you reach those goals and you feel like, or even like surpass those goals, sometimes, that happens as well. You subconsciously sabotage yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
And you might not do the things that, you might stop doing things that got you there in the first place. You might do some other things, like it's so fascinating, because I also know a lot of people that have had success, like with crypto. They made a lot of money with crypto, but they made more money than their mindset would have allowed them. And they would find a way to waste it. Or even some people in e-commerce, industry, they would just find a way to just waste that money. And now they're like, they're back to where they were. And it's so fascinating, right? Because it's it could be like a launch pad. Like you've had success here. Okay. You just I think the right way to do it is, once you achieve some benchmark, you have to just kind of reassess everything, reassess your goals, set even higher goals, yourself with people that are at that level, right? So that it's kind of normalized for you. It's let's say if everyone in your circle was doing, let's say $1 million per month, let's say 8-figure entrepreneurs, then it would, over time, I mean, initially it would be uncomfortable, but then over time it would normalize for you. It's it's normal, it's possible, and it's now you start believing it. And that's why I'm going to masterminds and like to surround myself with people on higher levels of success, because it's just never ending process. That operating system we constantly have to upgrade.
Yeah, that's kind of the reason why we decided to move from Switzerland, because when we came back, we stayed there for 8 months before moving to Bali, and we realized that the environment we were in was not the environment that would take us a step further, because we weren't surrounded by people that were doing the same thing as us. Nobody was an entrepreneur. Nobody was really a figure of success around us. So we decided to, do the kind of hard thing. I mean, there's harder things to do in life than move to Bali, but leave the family and all the comfort that we had there and just leave for something unknown, knowing that it will be better than to be surrounded by people that are kind of weighing us down. Not to be disrespectful or whatever, but everybody has their lives and they're comfortable with their lives or not. But the fact that we didn't have anybody there except for 2 friends that moved to Dubai because they had the same issue. Everybody else, just wasn't where we wanted to be. So when you're surrounded with people that are not where you want to be, that's kind of like they say, you're the average of the 5 people you hang out with the most. So we didn't want to become again what we used to be. So that's why we decided to change completely our environment. Even if for now we haven't met a lot of people here, but at least we're only together, and through communities like BBA and through other people that are kind of in the entrepreneurial journey as well, a friend of us, we kind of keep our mindset less occupied with stuff that are not gonna make us get to the next level.
Mm-hmm. And I'll introduce you. I think we have quite some people in our community from Bali. So I'll introduce you to some people in Bali. So some people.
Thanks.
All right. So what would you say to someone who's like maybe considering or just like on the fence of joining BBA or any other of our programs?
I would say that whatever your life looks like and what society has taught you to believe good is, if you're not feeling that inside of yourself you're completely happy with your life, you just have to take that step that scares you, because everything in life is on the other side of something that you're fearing to do.
Yeah.
So once you leave that scarcity mindset and you just have to ask yourself, like we did, what's the worst thing that's going to happen if you do that? If you join BBA, what's the worst thing that's going to happen to you? You're going to learn some new skill sets. You're going to meet some new people in the community. You're going to for sure learn something that you didn't know a few months or a few days before. So really, there's nothing weighing you down in joining a course like BBA or whatever else. You'll still learn something, and that's what life is all about.
Thank you, and I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you for trusting in us and joining the program and following the process and being coachable. I think what you mentioned about people being coachable and just opening their minds to the to the advice of someone who's done it before, or who's a few levels ahead of you, is something that can it's something that can change people's lives, but they have to open their minds in order for this to happen. So it's kind of like we can't force someone who's not kind of like we can only collaborate it, and if we both collaborate it, then we win together. So I appreciate you guys for your trust, and I'm looking forward to seeing you at I think that next benchmark is 100K a month.
Yeah, and then doing the next mastermind that you have.
Yeah, and
planned.
join ESS for sure.
That's our.
Yeah, looking forward. You guys have an amazing mindset, and it's just a matter of time to get to those numbers. So looking forward to keep working with you, serving you, and thank you so much for your trust. Thank you so much for sharing. I think for people watching, you should probably just rewatch it again, because there's many great insights, many great ideas that you shared, and appreciate you guys joining. And it's midnight for you, so I'll let you go.
No, it's fine. Don't worry.
That's okay.
But thank you so much, Alex, for having us, and also for creating this community. I know you probably hear it a lot, but really it definitely changed our lives. And we're so happy we came across your profile on Instagram. So yay, social media.
Thanks, man.
Thank you guys. Thank you, Ivana. Thank you, Anis. Thank you everyone for watching. And yeah, we'll see you guys at 100K months.